Week 18, it is all coming down to this week. Fate is in your hands. Just can you paint the picture of what the locker room looks like right now in terms of just how locked in everyone is, maybe compared to the rest of the season? What are you seeing that's different now out of this group than prior?
I mean, we like to treat every week the same. We like to think, want to know every week. Just focus on one day at a time, 1 week at a time. But, obviously, the stakes are a little bit higher this week. So I feel like we're just that much more locked in, that much more focused, and I feel like we're ready to go.
How do you personally handle that when it's, season on the line? Do you feel more competitive? Do you feel the emotions flow any differently, or do you feel that locked-in mentality too?
Well, honestly, being this late in the year, we all kind of have our own processes and your own way of doing things week in and week out. So by then, everybody kind of has their own routine and schedule. So, come Saturday for us, everyone's kind of dialed in and ready.
So as you guys are getting down to the wire, it's the chance for the division for the first time in 10 years, back in 2015. Not many people were part of this team back then, but you have a unique perspective because you saw it from being here in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. Can you think back to what 2015 looked like in the city and just how, dialed in the fans and the team seemed to be that time?
Yeah. I mean, the energy was incredible, honestly. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing Newton jerseys and Steve Smith and Thomas Davis and Ickey, just, all those premier guys. You could just feel the love from all the fans everywhere. And it was contagious. I feel like it kind of just made every day, going to school every day, watching on Sundays, it just felt that much more better and that much more happy because of how successful the Panthers were. So obviously a very unique opportunity for us and, really excited.
I mean, you were a freshman, I believe, going at Providence Day.
Yeah.
So that was 10 years ago at this point. And I mean, I've seen a couple of photos of you wearing the old jerseys. And
oh, yeah, there we go.
All these.
Yeah, that's me and my brother and my mom. I had the Ickey, and then my brother had that Thomas Davis and the Kelvin Benjamin. My dad had the Cam Newton jersey. So, I mean, yeah, we've been locked in for a while now.
What do you think that this young Ickey would be thinking, knowing that a decade later you'd be playing for the next chance to win the division?
I mean, I think he'd be proud. I think he'd be just excited for the opportunity. And, I think he'll be ready just to watch it on TV and watch it all unfold.
That's crazy. And just knowing that your journey has really come through the city, through the state, and that you're on this stage representing, what does it mean at this stage right now to be, Charlotte grown and based this whole time?
I mean, it's been an incredible blessing being able to play for the hometown team. Not a lot of people get to say that, so I've definitely been fortunate enough to be able to be here, obviously through some tough times as well, but be able to be here for some of the good times as well. It's definitely something that means a lot to me, and being able to change the narrative around this program.
You've had an interesting season. Of course, you've gone through some health scares early on in the season. Even just 2 weeks ago, being out against that game against Tampa. But you've had a great year. We talked before the season started about how you really wanted this year to take another step after you got that extension. So how do you feel like this year has gone for you so far, would you say?
I mean, I've been proud of the way, I've handled this year. Obviously, big shout out to the guys next to me on the offensive line. Yeah. Had a lot of variety. A lot of guys come in and play in the middle of the game, coming on, 1 week, they're on another team. They come in on our team and they're starting, so, the guys have been super locked in and super helpful, and they definitely helped me a lot in my development, as well as the coaching staff as well. So definitely been fortunate having, the type of guys around me. And, yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to get better each and every day.
I think there's been close to a dozen different offensive line combinations this year, and we've talked a lot about that this year, about how it's that continuity of bringing so many of you guys back from last year into this year that's helped. But what is it about maybe the characteristics of your group that has allowed you guys to kind of interchangeably work so well as a unit?
I think it just goes to the type of people we have in the room, like the mindset those guys have, where it's just, those guys will always put the team first above themselves, and whatever they're asked to do, that they're willing to do it. It's been a couple guys that have been put in some real tough situations, and they've kind of just battled through it for us, and just played to the best of their abilities. And you can see that every day on Sunday. Like there's no drop off, or anytime a guy gets put in there, they're ready to go. And I really feel like that goes to the testament of the coaches and the type of players we have.
And just 2 weeks ago for you were out against Tampa back at home. And I know that was something that was pretty emotional for you, where you were talking to the media before that game saying, if I can be out there, I want to do everything I can. Mm-hmm. What was it like, I guess, from your side, being able to watch that game from the sidelines, and what, I guess, impressed you about how the team was able to get that win here at home?
I mean, yeah, definitely a different perspective, obviously, watching the game rather than playing in it. But, I mean, the energy and everything that the sideline brought and just being on there was just palpable. And I really feel like, you know, the offense and the defense, and they kind of feed off, you know, that sort of stuff. So, honestly, it was just fun being able to be a fan for a little bit and being able to kind of just share my energy a little bit with the guys. And, you know, any way I could help, I was going to do it.
Obviously, now you're going to be getting ready to do it yourself, too. What kind of carryover, if any, is there from Week 16 into Week 18 when you're playing the same team twice in a 3-week span?
I mean, you know, obviously, week in and week out, you know,
Yeah.
things can change, things can develop and everything like that. So I like to think that we're not the same team Week 16, and, you know, I give them the credit as well. They're probably not the same team as well. So, you know, it's going to be a new matchup for us, and we're definitely excited.
How do you think this team is going to do it? What is it going to take to win the division, to win this game on the road, a place that has been tough for the Panthers to play on the road? So what's it going to take for this group to get what they need to do to win?
I mean, I'll kind of just fall back on coach's message. You know, it's all about the ball, taking care of it, and being able to take it away. You know, I feel like that's going to be, you know, a huge part of the win for us. And it's everybody being on the same page, you know, everybody locked in and dialed in, and I really feel like the focus has been showing, you know, these last couple of days.
Bryce has had a really good season. He's taking a lot of steps forward in terms of his leadership and in terms of just what he's been looking like on the field. What is it like from the O-line's perspective in terms of how he's been delivering this year?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, anytime you get to see Bryce go out there and just dealing the ball, you know, like he's shown week in and week out, it's definitely exciting. Any chance you get to, you know, block for a guy like that that's as dynamic as he is, you know, being able to run it for first downs and touchdowns and being able to throw it as well, and just you can just tell how locked in and how dialed he is and how excited he is for the moment. And I feel like, you know, the energy he brings in his play, it kind of, you know, resonates with the rest of the offense.
Just to be, though, in this situation where there's only 2 games that are really mattering at this point on this coming Week 18 weekend for that division locking up spots, you guys being one of them, to be in a position to compete for the NFC South, what does that mean to you personally?
I mean, it means a lot. That's a goal, you know, that we set out for ourselves. We want to be able to win the division. That's something we talked about ever since training camp, OTAs, and everything. Just, you know, just finding a way to the playoffs, and then it starts to win the division. So that's a message that we've all been, you know, locked into since we all came back in the offseason training together, and it's a message that stuck with us.